Hey guys, after making a first video about studying in Liverpool, I got a lot of really nice comments and positive feedback, and some of you asked me to make another videos about how am I doing in Liverpool, how are my studies, and I decided to create this video to talk about everything that I experienced throughout my 4 years at the university with all ups and downs. So if you're interested to hear my story, please continue watching. My first year was pretty much described in another video. On the beginning it was rough and tough, and then with time it got better and it was a lot of fun. In the first year I was super excited to be here in Liverpool, and I was trying to take all the possible opportunities out there. So for example, since I was interested in entrepreneurship, I would go for all the events that were organized. I would go for entrepreneur society events, networking events. I tried to make connections and basically learn how to do business. My degree is computer science, but in the first year it wasn't too difficult for me, as after finishing technical high school in Poland, I was already familiar with topics like coding or any things related to IT. In the first year, the university needs to ensure that all the people from different backgrounds and from all over the world, they are basically on the same level. So the first year is kind of like an introduction to computer science. So for me it was quite easy, and therefore I could party a lot, make friends, go out clubbing, getting drunk and basically have fun. First year was also when this channel has started. Initially I thought about this as something just for myself, for my friends and family, so I can put up videos after my traveling experiences. But then I thought I could actually document my life, my journey, and maybe people who are in a similar situation as I am or I was could find it helpful or inspirational. And this is how it works right now. Plus, in a couple of years, for myself, it's going to be amazing to watch those videos and see my transformation. So it's also the reason why I upload these videos. Anyways, in the first year, I was also working throughout the whole year. And thanks to my job, I could save up for 2 months traveling in Thailand over the summer. At the time, I already traveled a lot within Europe, but I've never been really outside of Europe, and I always dreamed about going to Thailand. In my first year, I met Billy, who grew up in Thailand, and he helped me to organize the trip. When buying tickets, I was wondering for how long do I want to go for, and I ended up buying tickets for 2 months because in Thailand it's pretty cheap. So it was either spending time in Europe or or the whole 2 months in Thailand, and I didn't have any idea what I was going to do, but I thought, why not? On the beginning, when I went to Thailand, I met Billy and we spent some time in Bangkok, and then together with his friend we went to Koh Samui and we had a great time. And then after that he had some other plans, so we split and I was traveling Thailand on my own, which was a great experience. That was also probably one of the first videos I uploaded on my channel, so if you want to have a look, I'll link to it in the description. Coming back to the UK for my second year of study was actually not easy. After 2 months in Thailand of easy life, full of joy, meeting great people, and generally like a hippie vibe, I had to go back to studying and working. While traveling in Thailand, I met a lot of travelers from all over the world, and this experience showed me different lifestyles that people have, and very often how you can be really happy without much money. I started having questions in my mind whether computer science is really my passion, or if I chose it because long time ago everyone around told me to do it because it's a future, it's a good career and it's good money. After this whole trip in Thailand, I noticed how much my life is actually directed towards money and success, but success in the society's point of view. I was trying to meet people who I thought will give me some benefits, and I wanted to be surrounded by those kind of successful people. But I didn't necessarily feel good with them, so it was very superficial. I've noticed that I was living like a robot. All my morning routines were taken from advice from successful people. Every minute of my day was scheduled in my calendar, and I eliminated all activities that I viewed as a waste of time. So for example, playing computer games, watching TV series, watching football, or doing sports. So basically like any kind of pleasure. Every free moment that I had to be committed to self-improvement, and if it wasn't, I was beating myself up. This willingness to be successful and financially free as soon as possible made me work really hard and very often outwork myself, and this was taking time, probably since high school. Well, thanks to that I got to study in Liverpool, but in my second year of studies, all this stress and unreleased anger simply started to come out. All of that I was comparing to my trip in Thailand, where I was 100% happy, and this crushed me really bad. So it was really dark moment in my life. I'm not gonna go in detail here because I still feel like I'm not ready to share everything with the public, but just know that if you're going through something similar, that I also had these kind of moments, and probably most people have. And so yeah, stay strong. And don't get me wrong, even though I had this mental battle during my second year, I still enjoyed my time and learned a lot. During the second year I joined the committee of Liverpool Entrepreneurs Network Society, and I helped them to organize different events. Thanks to that I got to meet a lot of nice people and have a lot of fun. Apart from that, I would just hang out with my friends, go to parties, concerts, or just study together at the library. Thankfully I had those friends because they played a really big role in getting me out of those dark moments when I felt really down. During Easter break I went to Netherlands with my best friend and we had a great time. During the second year I worked a little bit less because I wanted to take a little bit of pressure off my back. So I worked for a hospitality agency, sometimes on the bar, sometimes as a waiter, on different kind of events, like for example football games or horse racing events. It was a pretty cool experience actually, because I got to work on the Anfield Stadium in Liverpool, and I got to see things like Liverpool Football Club playing game or a concert of a big pop star like Pink, and also I could experience the British culture during big events like Grand National, which is horse racing competition. In the second year, at some point, my friend told me that she wants to go to China for a year in China program, which is offered by our university. And she told me to go as well. At first I was like, nah, I can't afford it. But then when she told me a little bit more details, I was like, yo, this is actually possible. And if it's possible, then why not? So I was like, screw it, let's do it. And long story short, I applied for it, I got accepted, and the next year I was going to study in China. Especially considering my not so good mental state, I thought that going straight to the final year and then trying to figure out what to do next would be a lot of stress and huge pressure. So doing something like a year in China, which was kind of like a gap year, was the best decision ever. Also, so this made me a lot happier because I had something amazing to look forward to. But that also meant that I had to say goodbye to most of my friends, because when I go to China I won't see them, and by the time I come back they will be already graduated and most of them gone. But yeah, you can't have everything. When I came back home to Poland for my summer holidays, that was probably the first time in my life that I didn't plan any summer trip. And that was because, for one, I didn't have any motivation because of my dark moments that I mentioned earlier, and for two, I didn't have much money. But then my mom was like, come on Philip, you can't just stay home and do nothing. You're gonna feel even worse. Go somewhere, do something. So I literally looked at the map and I was like, I've never been to Albania and I would love to go to Albania. So within 3 days I was on the road to Albania, hitchhiking. I went alone and I decided that I want to disconnect with the whole world. So my phone, I switched on the flight mode, and it was like that for 3 weeks, so I had no contact with external world. The cost of the trip were low because I was hitchhiking, I was sleeping in my tent, and the food that I was eating was just like basic food. But still, I got to really beautiful places and I met amazing people. I first stopped in Macedonia, and then when I reached Albania, I was very lucky to find a place that I was dreaming to find. Basically a beach with not many people where I can just stay and relax. I ended up in this gorgeous place and I stayed there for 8 days, helping with the campsite in exchange for food and a free place to stay. I could tell the whole story about this place and the people I've met there and how good time I've had, but that would be too long. I swear, I would stay there longer, but my friend and I bought tickets for a festival in Croatia that we dreamed about for years. So from Albania, I hitchhiked all the way to Croatia, where I indulged in 7 days of complete madness in the middle of the forest with great people, great music, and a lot of workshops. After that, it was time to go back to Poland and get ready for a new adventure. China. Most of the stuff from my year in China experience I uploaded on my YouTube, so you can have a look. It was probably the best year of my life. It was exactly what I needed at this point. Going to China is a little bit like going to a different planet. The culture is so different that you can really feel like that. Just imagine living there for a year. Not only I learned a lot about Chinese culture, tried loads of amazing food, learned a bit of Chinese, but I also made great friendships and I got to travel a lot. Around China I went to cities like Shanghai, Beijing, Shenzhen, Guilin, Xi'an, and a couple of others. But not only China, I also went for 3 weeks to Philippines, 1 month to Vietnam, and a couple of weeks to Malaysia. So it was loads of traveling, and you probably think like, how on earth did I afford all of that? So throughout this year I was teaching English in China, and trust me, if you're a white foreigner who speak English, then they pay pretty well. So that's how I saved up for my travels. After a year in China, I had to go back to Liverpool for my final year of studies. And since I was away, I couldn't book any room for me to stay throughout my final year, because in Liverpool, if you want to book a cheap and good accommodation, you need to do it at least a couple of months in advance. Fortunately, when I was in China, I got an email with an offer that I could become an RA for one of the student accommodations in Liverpool, which would basically kill two birds with one stone, because when I come to Liverpool, I would have a place to stay and a job. While I was in China, I had a Skype interview and I got accepted. So when I was coming back to Liverpool, I already knew that I have a place to stay and a job. So I didn't need to worry about this. And for those who don't know, RA stands for Resident Advisor. And it's basically a person who lives on a site with students and is there to help in case of emergency, or make sure that all the rules are obeyed. After this year of traveling and adventures, coming back to the UK was, again, as you can imagine, not very easy. All my friends already graduated and left Liverpool, and I was facing the hardest final year of the university and my final year project. I was kind of lonely and stressed, so as you can imagine, my demons came back. Also, I was put in a house with first year students who were 5 years younger than me. At first I thought it's not gonna be a big deal, but eventually I started feeling I can't really connect with them, so I didn't really feel good in my own house. Also, being an RA was not as easy and as fun as I thought it would be, because I had to shut down parties, I had to report students for smoking weed, and also I had to keep professional relationships with students, so in other words, boundaries. But I told myself that I already had so much fun throughout university that this year I just have to focus on passing with good grades and getting my degree. Obviously, I would get insane if I only did that, so I also made new friends, went out sometimes for some concert, I started exercising, eating healthy. After Christmas, I decided to move to a different house with international students who came to Liverpool for exchange program, so it was a lot more fun. That year, I also completed a psychotherapy, because somebody explained me that the purpose of memory is that you can take from the past what you need not to do stupid things again in the future. So the purpose of memory is to learn from the past so that you can construct the future more effectively. So now that means that if you've had some terrible things happen to you in the past and you still don't understand them, then you're insufficiently prepared for the future. And that means that you're going to be in the constant state of stress and anxiety. So psychotherapy helps you to understand your past better and discover your thought and behavioral patterns, which eventually helps you to get to know yourself better and quit the anxiety that you might have. So that was probably the best investment in my self-improvement so far. Anyways, in this year I also spent countless hours in my room coding, so I was a bit of a nerd. because I was working on my final year project, which was developing an iOS app for botanical gardens which are in Liverpool. And this was so far the biggest programming challenge I've had in my life, but it was also the biggest learning experience that I had, because so far in university I only learned like the foundation of many programming languages, but that was the first time that I've put it all into practice and I worked on a bigger project just by myself. For Easter break I went to visit my best friend in Norway, and we rented a car and we went camping for a couple of days. So it was a really great adventure. And this is my best friend who I've known since primary school, and we are both graduating at the same time. So this trip was to disconnect from the world and just brainstorm about our future and the possibilities that we have and what do we want to do. The video from that trip is actually on my channel, so if you are interested you can have a look. When I came back to Liverpool after this trip, it was basically time of submitting my dissertation and the final exams. Now after all that, here I am. It's July 2019 and I'm recording this video. I already received my results and I got a first class in my whole degree, so I'm really happy. I'm still in Liverpool because in a couple of days my family is coming for my graduation, and after graduating I have a plan to go traveling in Europe, maybe Portugal and Morocco, and then exactly, I don't know what then. This is the big moment when you're graduating and you have to decide what to do next. So far education was a structured life, and now suddenly there is nothing next waiting for me. So I feel like it's good to take some time off to get used to this feeling and also really think about what do I really want to do in the future. I'm 24 now, and apparently this is when the quarter life crisis hits you. And I could really feel it in the past months, so I really want to take it easy now. I've already started doing some research and looking at what possibilities I have and talking to people around me, and also getting advice generally from people who already went through all of that, who have been in my situation and already figured out what to do. But so far I still don't know my next step. So if you have any suggestions, please get in touch. And if you're just curious what's gonna happen next with me, please subscribe to my channel because I want to record my journey. So wait for next videos. And for now, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace.